Jai Hind everyone. Myself Amrita Tiwari, Assistant Professor, Ajay Kumar Garg, Engineering College. Today we will be discussing in the lecture series of software engineering, that is a software testing. Generally, the software testing comes after the when we develop our model. Then after developing our model, the testing is done. How our product is working, and we test usually the code, usually the every SRS document. The documents and our code is relatable to each other or not. So this comes under the system testing. So if we are today, we will be discussing about what is actual meaning of the testing. Secondly, then we will see what is the verification and the validation. Then we will see different types of testing, and very important topic, what is a stub and the drivers. So let us start with the understanding of what is testing. Generally, we know the term testing, so we generally interpret it in a wrong sense. So generally students, or in a common language, testing, we think that testing is to demonstrate the errors that are not present, or the purpose of testing is to show the program that perform its intended functions correctly. Or also sometimes we think that the testing is a process for establishing the confidence that program does what is supposed to do. So these all three the terms, the definition of testing is wrong. Generally, testing is not or in any of the three. So what testing, then what is the testing, the actual meaning of testing? So if we see the definition, testing is the process of executing a program with an intent of finding an errors. So here we have seen the testing is a process for demonstrating the error which are not present. So this is wrong. The actual definition is testing is a process. It is a process for executing a program. When we have done our designing phase, after designing phase, we come to the development phase where all the coding is done by the team, by the particular coding team. And after that, that program is executed. That program is checked thoroughly, either by different types of testing is there. We check them, and then we find what are the bugs are there, what are the errors are there in our testing, in our program, and after that we can rectify it before delivering the product. So that's the actual meaning of the testing. So what we should do, now the next question comes, what should we do, what should we test actually? So what should we test? We actually test the program's responses to every possible input. So when we develop our code, after that, what are the program's execution, what are the result we are getting from the particular program. So we test different types of test cases. Here different types of test cases are introduced, and then in test cases we test our program, and according to that we see what are the different types of the results we are getting. That means it should be, then we come into the conclusion, what are the invalid outputs, what are the invalid inputs, and what are the valid inputs. Invalid and invalid inputs means the test cases which we are getting a positive responses, and the invalid inputs means we are getting the negative responses. So these are the particular two reasons why what should we test. So firstly, it should test the program responses with respect to the test cases. Secondly, it will help us to determine what are the valid inputs that give us the positive results, and what are the invalid inputs that give us a negative results. So that's why we should do test. Now the software testing is divided into two types, in a two category, in a two step we can say, and it is very important, the verification and the validation. Sometimes students get confused in both of the aspects, what is the verification and validation. Actually students think these both are the same term, it defines the same term, but the actual meaning between the verification and validation is different. So let us understand with the definition. Verification means it involves the checking if the software is doing what it's supposed to do. That means, are we building the right product? The question comes here. Are we building the right product way? And the validation means the step verifies the software actually meets the customer needs and requirements. That means, are we have built the right product? That both are the different. That means, here we check the way. Way means all the four or the step, that is feasible study, then SRS document, then design phase. All these three will be checked out. So, after the feasible study, then when we go to the second part, that is the requirement analysis, the SRS document comes under the requirement analysis. We check, here the verification is done, that whatever the feasible study we have done is okay, then only we can go to the next SRS requirement analysis phase. After the analysis phase is done, when we go to design phase, so before doing the designing, before starting the designing, there should be a verification that SRS document has been made correctly, all the requirement analysis is done correctly or not. So here the verification is needed. So when it is verified, then only the next step will be worked on. So this is the term known as verification. Now what comes a validation? Validation means after doing all, that is after design, coding is done. After coding, testing is done, and after then the deployment and maintenance is done. So validation means we will check the product, the complete product, that it is made according to the SRS document requirement, according to the design, according to the coding or not. Our product is what actually customer wants, what are the requirements we have specified in SRS document, the product is made that way only or not. That this means the validation. The validation will be given to the product, that this is made according to the SRS document, according to the customer's need, what are specified in that, and then when it is okay, when we validate it, then the product will be given to the customer to use. So this is the main difference between the verification and validation. It is very important point. Next come the important goals of the software testing though. So what are the main objective of the software testing, why we are doing? So main objective is to detect the bugs as soon as the feasible in any situation. That means when we are in the when we are in the earlier phases, that is a feasible study and requirement analysis. So we detect as early as possible our bugs and errors. Second point is to avoid the errors in product and a final version. That means we do testing. There are different types of testing. In every phases we do the testing. So when the product is the final version is made, it should be a bug free. It should be the error free. That is the main target of our testing. Third point is to inspect to see whether the customer's requirement criteria has been satisfied or not. That means there we checked according to the requirement analysis, our code is developed, our project is developed or not. If not, then it is come under the testing. There will be an error. Here the reviewers will be checking the reviewers. There are many walkthrough, inspection will be done. So the whatever will be the error will be in our project, it will be debugged before the deployment. Last but not the least, the primary purpose of testing is to gauge the product and the product level of quality. That means it should meet what are the software qualities. What are the software qualities we have defined in our SRS document, that our product should consist, it should have that. The primary purpose is that it should consist all the level of quality that we have mentioned in our requirement analysis. So these are the main goals of the software testing, why we should do and what should be done in the testing. So next come the what are the different types of software testing. So generally, if we categorize the software testing, it comes the manual testing and the automation testing. So what is the difference between the manual testing and automation testing? So manual testing means that is done by the team or a particular team. There is an involvement of team, and the team will do the different types of testing. Whereas in automation testing, to test our product, we actually do in another application or simulator or any machine to test our product. So this is the automation testing. So under the manual testing, there comes a white box testing, black box testing and a gray box testing. So these are very important testings. These are very, very important testings. We will be discussing in our future videos also. So white box testing and black box testing is generally white box testing is a deep integration testing. It checks all the functionalities of the testing of our product. Whereas black box testing does not go deeply. It only checks the upper functionalities of the product. Whereas now white box testing is further classified into the unit testing, integration testing and a system testing, which are the basic testing of our software system. So unit testing, we will be discussing that. Black box testing is further classified into the functional and non-functional testing. As I told you, black box testing is generally used to test the functionalities of the system, of our product. So our functions can be the functional and as functional requirements are the non-functional requirements. According to that, functional testing and non-functional testing. So it checks the functions, and whereas non-functional generally checks the software qualities. So these are the black box testing. If we further classify the integration testing, so integration testing is further classified into incremental and non-incremental testing, whereas incremental testing again divided into the top-down and bottom-up testing. Top-down, bottom-up means we check from the top and then we further come into the different modules in a bottom way. Whereas the bottom-up testing is we generally check from the bottom and then we go to the main class. This is the top-down and bottom-up testing. Whereas if we come here in a non-functional testing, the performance testing, usability testing and compatibility testing. These are all the qualities, all the non-functional requirements that we cannot measure. So these are the testing we have to done in that also, in non-functional testing also. So if we further classify the non-performance testing, this is further classified into the load testing, stress testing, scalability testing and stability testing. So these are the main testings which you are usually do in our software testing. So let us see what are the different types of unit testing, manual testing and system testing. These are the main basic functions, basic testings which we used to do. So first of all, manual testing I have told you. So manual testing is a testing that is a test to carry out the using the functions and features of the application. That means we usually do the test cases. We here usually build a test cases and according to it we check our code. So what are the advantages here? Advantages is it is a fast and accurate visual feedback will be given because it is done manually. Then it is less expensive as comparison to the automation because here the team is involved, whereas in automation we have to purchase a product or an app or a simulator to check our product. So it is quite expensive in comparison to the manual testing. Then no coding is required. Here no coding is required. No programming language knowledge is required. It is generally a testing, and this is efficient for the unplanned changes. So If there is any unplanned changes, we can do manually. It can be done satisfiedly. But in manual automation testing, there are some difficulties in doing the unplanned testing. So unplanned changes. So these are the main advantages of the manual testing. Then automation testing, as I told you, here we need a suitable software or automation tool to test our software. So automation or process of a manual process. So here it allows the executing but it has one advantage, that we can repeatedly execute the task without use of the manual testers. So here the manpower is not needed. Manpower is needed less because we can repeatedly do one task several times. But in manual testing, it quite difficult to do one task manual, because it is done only because we are assigning a team to test the task. So here automation have one advantage: we repeatedly can test any task as much as we wanted. So this is the main function between the manual and the automation testing. Then there comes a unit testing. So first testing comes a unit testing. So it generally focus on the function. It is done in the white box testing. Because it is a deep, done in a deep way. So focus on the testing of the function and software module. So if we see, it's simplified when the module is designed with the high cohesion. It reduces the number of test cases and allow users to be more easily predict and uncovered. So in this, the highest cyclomatic complexity is needed for testing when the resources are limited. So this is the unit testing, where we generally test the small codes, not whole program, but a small codes, and for that small code we develop generally the test cases which reduce the number. So generally small test cases will be discussed. For one to test all the small code, we generally need one test cases, and with that one test cases we can check all the small code. So reduce the number of test cases here. Then there comes the integration testing. So in integration testing, now the testing is more. Now the program, the modules are integrated, and then it is the one or two modules or functions are integrated, and then we do a testing. So it is defined as a systematic testing for constructing the software architecture. So objective is that the unit testing modules and build a program structure based on the prescribed design. So there are generally the two approaches I have told you earlier, that is the non-incremental testing and incremental testing. So in non-incremental testing, we do two module check, then again we do two module check. They are not correlated. But in incremental testing, what we do one check, then after that it is correlated with the other two, then further it will be incremented in all four, and these are all related with this, then again further it is further classified. So this is increasing incremental and this is the non-incremental integration testing. Then there comes a system testing. So system testing means now we are checking the whole code, whole program completely. So it takes time because we are checking the whole code. So in comparison to integration testing and unit testing, it takes lot of time. So if we see by the definition, system testing is a type of software testing that is performed on the completely integrated system. So to evaluate the compliance of the system while corresponding to the requirements. In a system testing, the integration testing is passed, components are taken as an input, and the goal of the integration testing is to detect any irregularity between the units that are integrated. So here, we have tested in the integration testing, it will be considered as a input for the system testing. And after that, we generally build a test cases, and according to it, the system test will be done. So this is the overall view of the system testing. So if we see, firstly, the unit testing will be done. After that, integration testing will be done. After that, a system testing will be done. So it requires lot of time to test. It requires minimum time, and it doesn't require it requires less time in comparison to the integration and the system testing. But it is a faster, it is average, and it takes lot of time. So it is comparatively slower. So to test the small codes or to test only the part of the code, we prefer generally the unit testing and the integration testing. Whereas if we want to have the whole testing and we have to have more intellectual view of what will be the error and debugs in our whole system, then we prefer the system testing. So these are the difference between the unit testing, integration testing, and the system testing. And all these three comes under the white box testing and the black box testing. Generally in black box testing, we do the integration and the system testing. We does not do the unit testing. But in a white box testing, we do the unit testing, then integration testing, and then the system testing. So these are the levels of the testing in the white box and the black box. Now, if we see the acceptance testing, one more testing comes, the acceptance testing. It is generally the testing that is done after we have done all the testing and we are supposed to deploy our product or to ready to deliver the product. So at that time, we do the acceptance testing. So according to the user's need, requirements, and the business process, conductor determine whether the system satisfied the acceptance criteria or not, to enable the users, customers, and other authorized entities to determine whether to accept system or not. That means after we have done all the testing, now the product is tested again according to the customer's need, according to the business need, according to the authority entities, all the stakeholder, all the business stakeholder, everyone, all the organization that is involved in that product. According to it, the product is built or not, whether to accept it, whether to give okay check to deliver it to the customers, or we have to hold it to have, there is some rectification. So that is the acceptance testing, and either to accept or to reject. Then there comes the advantages of the, if we see the advantages of the acceptance testing, firstly, it tests the project team to know the further requirement from the users directly as it involves the users for testing. Then automated test execution will be done here because we use this automation tool. Automation tool will be used here. Then it brings confidence and satisfaction to the client, because according to the client view, the testing is done. So the client will be more confident that yes, the product is made in concern to R. So here, to bring the confidence for the client, we generally involve this testing process. Another program, it covers only the black box testing process, and it generally checks all the functionalities. And next is, it is easier for you to describe the requirement. So we check, because here the acceptance testing, we are check according to the requirement analysis of whatever the customer's requirement is there, anything. So if we do this acceptance testing, it is very easy to explain what are the requirements, and according to it, we have done the acceptance testing. So this is the advantages of the acceptance testing. Now, the most important part is what is the stub and what is the drivers. Where we use this, what is this stub and drivers? So, generally stub and drivers are used in the integration testing or system testing. That means, let's suppose
there is one module, there is another module, module 2, module 1 and module 3. So these all are integrated to have a integration testing. Now if we have int A and int B and int C, and we are doing C is equal to A plus B, and we don't have the module 3. So here what will we do? Here we will use, if we don't have, if the product or a module is not completed, then we use in that cases to test the integration, to have a integration testing, we do the stub or driver. So here in this, we will be using the driver, because it is a bottom. If we do the testing from bottom to top, this will be the driver. If we do the testing from top to bottom, then it is a stub driving. So if we are doing the top to down or bottom up approach, then we are using the stub, because this module stub and driver, this module is not created, this module is not yet completed, but we want to do a integration testing. So we will be using one sample code that is known as a stub or a driver to test the integration testing. So if we see the definition, stubs are the integral part of the software testing in context to the integration testing. So when we are doing the top down and bottom up development approach, there are the placeholder of the modules and a component to stimulate the behavior of the dependent. So stub ensures that the testing can be done in a progress smoothly, even the certain part of the softwares are incomplete. So here this part is not completed. So here we use the stub. If we use a bottom up and top down approach. So similarly, what is a driver? So driver help to facilitate when the certain components are incomplete and we need to test in a conjunction with others. So that is also a top down bottom approach, but here it is a calling module, and the stub is known as the called module, whereas the driver is known as the calling module. So they are placeholder module that stimulate the behavior of a calling module or a component that are not yet available. So there is a difference between the stub and the driver, when to use the stub and when to use the drivers. So this is the main and this is very important topic, the difference come between the stub and the drivers. So now if we see difference, it is used in a top-down integration testing while the drivers are used in the bottom-up testing. It provides a simplified implementation and module of the component to the main component depends on, whereas it mimics the behavior of the high-level module that test the module depend on. So there is a difference in functionality. It generally depends upon the main module, it depends upon the tested module. Dependency, if we see, the stub is called the modules and components. Here driver stimulated called modules and are the calling modules, it is a called modules. So this is the main difference between the stub and the driver. So in conclusion, if we see, stub and driver play a very crucial role for the software testing by stimulating the missing or dependent components. So if stubs are used for an isolated and test individual module without their actual dependency, promoting the incremental development, whereas driver mimic the behavior of the high level modules to facilitate testing of the lower level. So lower level and the incremental level, this is very important in a control environment. So stub and driver is very crucial in the integration testing, where the integration issues come in the earlier cycle or reducing the cost of fixing the problems later. So
it is generally used in when we are in the earlier stages, when we are doing the feasibility and designing phase. Then only if the modules are not created completely, then that cases in a deployment cycle, we can use the stub and driver. So it will help in reducing the cost of the fixing the problems later. So this is very important part of the integration testing. So that's all from my side, and in the next lecture of series of the software testing, we will be discussing about the white box and black box and grey box testing. Thank you everyone.